But Donald Trump is returning to power, and so once again it is time to saddle up la résistance. Because, if you remember, before Trump won the election, Democrats were clear-eyed about the stakes.
It's time that fascism is called fascism, and Americans know exactly what they're voting for.
He is paving the way to become a Vladimir Putin or to become an Adolf Hitler.
He is a threat to democracy.
He is a clear and present danger to our democracy, to our way of life.
The damage may be irreversible, the destruction could be unthinkable, and it would be a betrayal of everything that our framers fought for.
You're not even going to look up? You're not even going to... You know, a little eye contact, a little inflection could drive the danger thing. You give it a little urgency, you know. I feel passionately we should fight him on the beaches, in the field, God forbid the streets, the asphalt and the sidewalk. It's really... Is it sad that the only thing that really makes it a Schumer impression is I put glasses on? Is that... Was it really that? I mean, you applauded literally just the glasses. I'm a pair of bifocals away from being Chuck Schumer's. You bastards. Now, I assume now that the Democrats have lost to the greatest threat we've ever faced as a nation, that they will be forthright in acknowledging, one, the Democrats' role in this catastrophic defeat, and two, the bleak hellscape we now face. Or...
We're proud of the fact that we've defeated more House Republican incumbents than they've defeated House Democratic incumbents.
We did flip 3 House seats from Republican to Democrat and gained back almost all of those that we had lost in 2022.
Yeah, almost is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Yeah, we almost gained back all we had lost. Almost is kind of a load-bearing adverb, spin-wise, finding a positive in what is clearly not good news. You can't... Parents, good news, we gained back almost all of the children we lost on the field trip. Win-win! It's a new dynamic. It is a willful bright-siding this shit show that we celebrate in our new segment called The Audacity of Cope. Now, technically, yes, Democrats have less seats, but have you heard who's in those seats?
In this freshman class alone, and I'm going to stop for cheers for each one of these because they're remarkable, we have our first trans member of Congress. We have an engineer from an immigrant community in the San Fernando Valley. We have the first Iranian-American Democrat in Congress. We have the youngest member ever elected to the House from New Jersey.
That's not a thing. How did you go from the reasonably impressive first Iranian Democrat to hold a seat to the, I think, somewhat reaching for youngest person ever from New Jersey? But by the way, to the audience, if you think that framing is not that interesting, wait till you hear that this record-breaking young phenom from New Jersey is 38 years old. 38 years old. God, come on. How far are we going with this? Oh, in Illinois, we elected a ginger. Oh, hey, yeah. We elected the first representative from Washington State. who looks like he has a terrible secret. He ran on loneliness. Wow, this is going to be the most diverse group of congresspeople to ever get all their legislation blocked. So inspiring. But you know what? No, it's fine. People. But you know what? Those are just the lowly House Democrats. How will the head of their party, the outgoing president, man the ramparts during this challenging and fraught, peaceful transition to fascism?
President Biden is in Brazil, where he became the first American head of state to visit the Amazon rainforest. He went there to highlight the dangers of climate change and the need to turn away from fossil fuels.
What the No way that desk was there. No way. Not a chance. In the middle of all this, he disappeared to the rainforest, starring in what appears to be like 4 Pixar movies in one mixed together. Clearly, Up is one of them. And in Kanto, I'm going to say there's a little Moana, maybe Wall-E. Had a powerful anti-consumerist message. Well, hopefully, listen, while he's down there, hopefully he has some inspiring words for us. Mr. President.
History is literally watching us now. So let's preserve this secret place for our time and forever, for the benefit of all humanity. Thank you very, very much.
Just walking away like that. Mr. President, I'm sorry. The tribe has spoken. Extinguish your torch. What is happening? You know, maybe this is how we should do the transfer of power. The winner moves into the White House, and the incumbent just wanders off into the jungle so that his nutrients may be returned to the soil. But of course, as the Democrats struggle, Donald Trump headed to Madison Square Garden with his grab him by the pussy posse to do his favorite thing, watch people submit. Oh, Trump likes submission in the octagon. He likes it out of the octagon. He likes submission from his enemies and even from his new friends. And by the way, it doesn't take much of a transgression to warrant a bended knee for Trump. For instance, last week, Trump's newly minted Health and Human Services nominee hit Trump with a bit of a lighthearted jab about his diet.
The stuff that he eats is really like bad. It's not, campaign food is always bad, but the food that it goes onto that airplane is like just poison.
It's a little friendly swipe, boop. A little bit of ribbing, gentle ribbing, boop. And he will pay for his insolence.
President Trump, Elon Musk, Don Jr., RFK Jr., and Speaker Mike Johnson eating McDonald's on Trump's private plane.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Robert, come in here. You think that's poisoned, huh? Eat it. Hey, Robert, eat the whole thing. Yeah, in front of us right now. Eat the whole thing. And by the way, when you're done eating the whole thing, Grimace is going to come in here and f***ing yes. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, that's right. Grimace. Hey, Robert, eat the whole thing. Grimace is going to f***ing yes while we're doing it. You got to make eye contact with him the whole time. Yeah, we're going to film it. I was just going to keep going with the premise. By the way, I know we're focused on the humiliation of RFK Jr., but look at poor Mike Johnson there. Poor Mike Johnson right there. Oh, he didn't even get a seat at the cool kids table. And the sad part, this whole thing was Mike Johnson's bachelor party. Meanwhile, Joe and Mika Brzezinski Scarborough, who famously warned of the growing threat of Trump's fascism, also had an interesting announcement to make.
Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we?
Because you said he was Hitler. Oh, okay. Tap out. But look, we don't know what the visit was. We don't know what the tone of the visit was.
We talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets.
Oh, I bet you really laid down the gauntlet, Joe. I bet you walked in there and just let him have it, didn't you, Joey? I'm going to do a one-act play called Joe and Mika Go to Mar-a-Lago. Mr. President, your rhetoric is outrageous. I cannot in good conscience... Ooh, are those macaroons? The pink one is raspberry. We've learned nothing. Even those putting up resistance to Trump's agenda don't seem to understand who they're dealing with.
Senator Elizabeth Warren accusing President-elect Donald Trump's transition team of breaking the law, as there are reports it missed a deadline to file a required ethics pledge.
Hear ye, Hitler missed a reporting deadline. The war is over. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Republicans are playing chess and the Democrats are in the nurse's office because they glued their balls to their thigh. That is what is happening. The election that we just had was a repudiation of the status quo, an overly regulated system that is no longer responsive or delivering for the needs of the people or their beloved behatted squirrels. Oh, R.I.P. Peanut. Government is theoretically a constitutional system of checks and balances between equally powerful branches. But what government actually is an overly complicated Byzantine bureaucratic maze of rules, loopholes to those rules, and norms. Complex enough that A, if you want to find a rule that keeps you from doing something, you'll find it. And B, if you actually want to do something, you can find a loophole to get around said rule. And then the norms are just how often you've had to pull any of this shit. For example, Trump's, let's be generous, provocative and unorthodox cabinet picks. I don't think Hulk Hogan's been nominated yet. I think he's going to be the secretary of Take Your Vitamins! Democrats are positive that the vaunted constitutional rules of the Senate shall be the guardrail to this madness.
Certainly we can fight back.
The president nominates, the Senate confirms.
We're a check and balance. We're there to be a guardrail.
The Senate has a constitutional obligation to advise and consent on this nomination.
Oh, shit. You want Matt Gaetz, Mr. President? Prepare to be advice and consented, biatch. There is no way for the Constitution to allow you to get past it.
The Constitution does give the president power to adjourn the House and Senate on extraordinary occasions.
To unilaterally install his most controversial nominees and bypass the Senate confirmation process entirely.
That is our government in a nutshell. The rules say we can stop it. The loophole says, that. And so what are you left with? The last refuge of losers, the norms.
I don't think that's appropriate, and I don't think that's what the founders intended.
That is not the custom.
Yeah, you can do it, and it's legal, but whatever, guy. We're going to think you're a dick. Republicans exploit the loopholes. Democrats complain about the norms over and over and over, and it has ghastly consequences. Remember when President Obama nominated Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court? Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell refused to give that a vote, saying, well, it's only one full year before the election. It's too close. Now, you could make a case that Obama could violate the norm, say the Senate failed their advice and consent, and appoint him anyway, and see whatever the happens. Fight. But they just went, well, we never heard of that rule, but, okay. Smash cut 2 months before a presidential election. Trump nominates Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court after the completely unforeseeable death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And as you can imagine, the Democrats went right to the nearby Kinko's.
Behind me is the McConnell rule. On February 13th, 2016, when Justice Scalia passed away, Senator McConnell said, and I quote, "This vacancy should not be filled until we have a new president."
And so Amy Coney Barrett was forced to head back to her homestead, never to be heard from a... Oh, they didn't give a... Oh, right, I forgot. They didn't give a... Look, let this show be the utterly ineffective hypocrisy finders. I can tell you from experience, it does nothing. You guys be the loophole guys that figure out how to get shit done, because they don't give a about your norms. They will exploit any loophole, even if they have to go through clearly closed windows to do it. You would think after Trump's presidency, Democrats would have learned, but they doubled down. When Biden tried to get immigration reform into the Inflation Reduction Act and the Senate parliamentarian told him he couldn't, did he respond to the rule with a loophole, or did he?
That's for the parliamentarian to decide, though, not for Joe Biden to decide.
No! That's for, you take the parliamentarian and you put them in a locker and then you bring Grimace in and have him. That's what you do! Do you guys get what I'm saying? Perhaps a demonstration is in order. To get anything done, the Democrats feel like they must thread the needle to make sure, we have to make sure each norm follows the overly complex bureaucratic process that we created ourselves. The parliamentarian, I can't do it because the norm says, I can't get anything done. Meanwhile, the Republicans come in and all they have to do is finger bang a donut. That's all they have to do. How are we going to get Matt Gaetz in if the advice and consent? Oh, there it is, right there. Boom, boom. There he's in there. Now he's in. Look at him, he's in. Do I have to sleep with this now? What? I've made you all uncomfortable. Now Trump has the House, Senate, presidency, and judiciary. So it's going to get harder, not easier. Democrats are going to have to forcefully play the loopholes. But the good news is, you're well set up for it. With the youngest congressional representative ever from New Jersey, 38-year-old LaMonica McIver. Unless... Wait, I've got a loophole. What if Joe Biden got his vice president to not certify... No, President Biden, wait! Listen to the plan! Joe!
Last week, Donald Trump made his insane yet predictable pick for Attorney General Matt Gaetz, Florida congressman, and if wraparound shades were a person. Critics have been asking, does Matt Gaetz know enough about the law to be Attorney General? And every day, we're learning that he has lots of experience with some laws.
CBS News has learned that two women told the House Ethics Committee they were paid to have sex with Gaetz and to travel with him on multiple occasions. One also says that she saw Gaetz having sex with a minor.
She observed to her right Representative Gaetz having sex with her friend who was 17 at the time.
Your future Attorney General, everyone. It's always the people you most expect. And if you're wondering how they found out, it's a case of he said, she said, he has a paper trail.
The committee has Gaetz's Venmo and PayPal transactions that allegedly show
payments for sex, and text messages where he refers to illegal drugs in code words.
Representative Gaetz would use terms like, can you make sure that there are party favors present, or who's in charge of the party favors?
Party favors, clever, can't crack that code. And they said he paid for sex with Venmo? Has this guy ever heard of cash? Come on, at the bare minimum, an attorney general should know how to cover up his own crimes. Now, according to this lawyer, it wasn't all just sex and drugs. There was also theater.
The lawyer claims in 2019, then Congressman Gaetz paid the women to travel to New York to watch his appearance on Fox News, attend the Broadway show Pretty Woman, and have sex with him.
Taking 2 prostitutes to see Pretty Woman? It's a little on the nose, wasn't it? I guess High School Musical was sold out. But the worst part is that he apparently took them to watch him on Fox News. God, I hope they charged him extra for that. It's $1,000 for butt stuff and $2,000 if I have to look at Brit Hume. Now, the House Ethics Committee looked into all these allegations, but there's a debate about whether they should still release its report now that Gaetz has left Congress. Unfortunately for Gaetz, the Speaker of the House took office with a very, very clear philosophy.
My office is going to be known for trust and transparency and accountability.
Transparency. Yes, I love it. Here is a guy who understands how important it is that people hear the truth about their next attorney general. So, Mike Johnson, hand over the report.
Speaker Mike Johnson says the report should stay sealed.
I would be concerned about opening the Pandora's box of saying that the House Ethics Committee, with its vast resources and unlimited power, effectively, could investigate private citizens and release reports about them.
Mike Johnson, seriously? Your argument is that if they can investigate Matt Gaetz for having sex with an underage girl, then they can investigate anyone for having sex with an underage girl. And is that really what we want as a country? Yes! Yes, we want that! We want that! That is what we want. Also, you're violating your principle of transparency to defend the guy accused of throwing sex parties? You, a man who wears a blindfold during sex so that he doesn't accidentally see his own penis? What are you so worried about?
With regard to the report, there's a very important reason for the tradition and the rule that we have almost always followed, and that is that we don't issue investigations and ethics reports on people who are not members of Congress.
Okay, is it me, or did that almost seem like a tell? What was that about?
So he's saying it would be a terrible precedent to release this report. He's warning against it after a member steps down. But keeping him honest, the House Ethics Committee has done this before, most notably in a financial impropriety case for former Tennessee Congressman Bill Boner, who left the House to become mayor of Nashville.
Yep, that is right. There is precedent for releasing an ethics report because of a guy named Bill Boner. Not to be confused with Boner Bill, which is what Matt Gaetz Venmos at the end of a sex party. Bill Boner had an ethics scandal in the quaint scandal days when your scandals were financial and not pubescent. And after finding that out about him, forgive me, but I went down a bit of a boner hole. I discovered some old news clips that after leaving Congress, Bill Boner did some amazing work as the mayor of Nashville.
You might not recognize this man who called himself Bob until he removed his disguise. Then you know it's Mayor Bill Boner. And the disguise was worn when he went undercover last April to buy illegal drugs and to learn just how bad drug trafficking is on Nashville streets.
Impressive disguise. Usually you just hide a boner with a math textbook. But you got to give Boner a hand because it worked.
These are pictures of the drug transaction in which Bona bought $40 worth of cocaine in northeast Nashville.
One of the guys that we bought from was by the name of Big Daddy.
One Big Daddy may be out of the drug selling business in Nashville, but if these bumper stickers that are going around are any indication, there may be other Big Daddies in town.
It's good, but I think there's one thing that bumper sticker needs. Yeah. There you go, foolproof. But why did I spend 2.5 minutes talking about Bill Boner? Because it's a fun little escape, yes, but also this is the precedent Mike Johnson can have to release the House Ethics Report. So Johnson, listen up. In times of need, look to Boner. So far, he's made a number of cabinet picks whose main qualification seems to be being on TV. His defense secretary is a guy from Fox and Friends, his transportation secretary is a guy from Fox Business, and his attorney general is a guy who I'm pretty sure was on To Catch a Predator. And apparently, he's still flipping channels.
Trump tapping yet another television personality to join his administration, this time Dr. Mehmet Oz. Trump naming the TV doctor to oversee Medicare and Medicaid for more than 160 million Americans.
Okay, all right. Okay, but hold on. It could be worse. It could be worse. At least Dr. Oz is an actual doctor. I'm impressed he didn't pick Dr. Pepper. But is someone going to tell him that this isn't actually a doctor's job? This is running a vast insurance bureaucracy. If you have to pick someone from TV, at least pick the Limu Emu. Come on. But hear him out. What are Dr. Oz's qualifications for running a $1.4 trillion agency that affects the lives of 160 million people?
In his statement, Donald Trump led by saying Dr. Oz has won 9 daytime Emmys.
Yeah, that adds up. And even if this was a job that you had to scrub in for, I'm not sure he'd be the doctor that you want.
In the early days, the pandemic touted the drug hydroxychloroquine, which doesn't work against COVID-19. Columbia University cut ties, you may remember, with him several years after a group of colleagues accused him of manifesting, quote, an egregious lack of integrity by promoting quack treatments and cures in the interest of personal financial gain.
I hope he was promoting quack science for personal gain. It would be way weirder if he was just doing it for the love of the game. But yes, as Anderson Cooper points out, Dr. Oz has a long history of medical quackery. I wonder how people got the idea that he was a serious medical expert in the first place.
The first vaccines against the H1N1 virus are being distributed. Are they safe? We'll let you ask the expert, Dr. Mehmet Oz, host of the Dr. Oz Show.
The threat from drug-resistant bacteria. And out front tonight, we're lucky to have Dr. Oz, host of the Dr. Oz Show.
We are back with the great Dr. Oz and talking about a very critical thing for our audience about finding a woman's G-spot.
No, thank you. I'm good. I got it. I completely forgot CNN had that show, Old Guys Talking Pussy. It was on right after Crotchfire. And of course, you can count on a guy named Oz to know what's behind the curtains. But listen. Yeah. Listen, if you need a CNN segment to teach you how to make your wife orgasm, don't worry. She's been the neighbor for 6 months. And you might be saying, relax, Dr. Oz doesn't have to know what he's doing. He'll have people around him who do. Sure, except that Dr. Oz's boss will be RFK Jr., who also doesn't know what the he's doing. There's not going to be a layer of competent workers at some point. It's just celebrities all the way down. Because Donald Trump isn't really picking leaders of agencies, he's just picking mascots. But nobody expects Mr. Met to actually pick up a bat and hit a ball. Because one, he would just be terrible at it. And two, you're basically asking him to hit his children, and he can't do that. And yes, Mr. Met is the father of every baseball, all with different mothers. What can I say? Ironically, the guy hates to wear a glove. Doesn't feel the same. But to be fair, Trump isn't just filling his cabinet with daytime TV personalities. He's also hiring from pay-per-view.
Trump has also picked major Republican donor and former pro wrestling executive who is helping with his transition, Linda McMahon, for Education Secretary.
Yeah, that's right. Pro wrestling executive Linda McMahon. You might remember her from being head of small business in Trump's previous administration, or you might remember her from the time she kicked her husband in the balls.
Linda rose from her chair!
It's too bad that was fake, because he's a monster. Now, does Linda McMahon have expertise in education? No, of course not. She's being appointed to the Department of Education. Why would she? But it doesn't matter anyway when you hear Trump's plans.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education. In total, American society pours more than $1 trillion a year into public education systems. But instead of being at the top of the list, we are literally right smack. Guess what? At the bottom.
Did he just say right smack at the bottom? I thought right smack was more of a middle thing. It's like saying we are dead first, people. But if we're not careful, we could hit rock middle. But until Trump dissolves the department, I guess Linda McMahon will be in charge. And we don't know what her policies will be exactly, but at least we know her position on child discipline.
But, Mom, just remember, like you told me when I was a little girl, this is gonna hurt me a lot worse than it hurts you.
Get her!
That is what I call traditional family values. Yes. If you've ever dreamed of being an attorney general, update your resume because they have an opening.
Major breaking news. President-elect Donald Trump's pick for attorney general is out. Matt Gaetz says he is withdrawing his name from consideration.
Trump himself has put out a statement. Matt has a wonderful future, and I look forward to watching all of the great things that he will do.
You want to watch all the great things Matt Gaetz will do? Might I suggest downloading the Citizens app? But yes, this was a shocking announcement from the Trump team. And as you can say, no one was more surprised than Matt Gaetz. What a week Gaetz has had. He resigned from Congress. Everyone talked nonstop about how he's a sex criminal and a pedophile, and now he doesn't even get to be attorney general. This guy is so hard that he had to Venmo himself 10 grand. So pour out a Capri Sun for one of the goats, but let's move on. We've all heard the official story of the 2024 election. According to the pundits, the Democrats were obsessed with woke they-them politics that didn't connect with voters, while Republicans were talking about real issues that affect people day to day. So now Republicans are in charge of both houses of Congress. So let's hear about the economy.
On Capitol Hill, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson took aim at Democrat Sarah McBride, the first trans member of Congress. 8 barred transgender people from using the Capitol complex bathrooms that do not align with the sex assigned at birth.
Okay, forget about the economy. I guess the national mandate was making it harder for this one woman to poop at work. And by the way, who appointed Mike Johnson as the king of bathrooms?
Under House rules, the Speaker has general control of facilities in the chamber.
Oh. I guess he's the king of bathrooms. Pardon me, Your Majesty. Government is weird sometimes. This guy is second in line for the presidency, and he also has to refill the soap dispensers. Anyway, So now, Sarah McBride, the first trans congresswoman, hasn't even started work yet, and she already has to run around the corner to Starbucks to pee. And she is handling this situation more calmly than I would when I have to get to the bathroom.
Sarah McBride actually did respond in a statement. She said, "I am not here to fight about bathrooms. I'm here to fight for Delawareans and to bring down cost-facing families. I've remained hard at work preparing to represent the greatest state in the union come January."
Yes. Although, did you just say that Delaware is the greatest state? Have you tried any other state? I mean, you won. You don't need to keep saying that. But the point is, Sarah McBride is not the one pushing this issue. The whole thing started because of one Congresswoman, Nancy Mace, the Republican from South Carolina, where things must be running so smoothly that she can devote all her energy to this.
I'm going to fight like hell for women and girls to keep men out of women's private spaces, to include bathrooms, restrooms, locker rooms, changing rooms, you name it. You are not welcome. If being a feminist makes me an extremist or a bigot or a monster, I am totally here for it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Come at me, bro. Or bros in this case.
I don't love her bigotry there, but I do respect her dedication to getting her steps in. I listen to podcasts, but bullying your coworkers is also a choice. Honestly, transphobic Cruella de Vil's logic might backfire here, because all of her drama, ironically, is affirming Sarah McBride's gender. There is nothing that defines the female experience more than starting a new job and a woman at work just decides she hates you. And Nancy Mace really seems to hate Sarah McBride. It's like it's her full-time job.
In just 72 hours on X, Representative Nancy Mace has posted about trans women in bathrooms more than 325 times.
What the 325 tweets? How can anyone else even use the bathroom when Mace is on the toilet tweeting all day? Oh my God. Jesus. I have never hated anything so much that I had to buy a new data plan. That is way too much tweeting. Even Elon Musk is like, have you considered joining Blue Sky? She's not just posting on the internet, she's posting on the walls.
South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace hanging signs for biological women on restrooms.
Your tax dollars paid for this. But hey, she's getting a lot of attention for her bullshit politics. And even if it's pissing off a lot of people, you know who would not be happy with Nancy Mace right now? 2021 Nancy Mace.
Back in 2021, she said, "I strongly support LGBTQ rights and equality. No one should be discriminated against. I have friends and family that identify as LGBTQ. Having been around gay, lesbian, and transgender people has informed my opinion over my lifetime."
Wonder what changed. I guess the biggest transition was Nancy Mace wanting to identify as the center of attention. Here's how you know that this is all performative. Well, first, the performance. Ta-da! And also, here's what she claims the problem is.
I'm not going to stand for a man, if someone with a penis is in the women's locker room, that's not okay. I know how vulnerable women and girls are in private spaces.
Yes, of course. You just want to protect women from hypothetical predators. That would play a lot better if you weren't trying to get actual predators into the highest levels of government. RFK, Matt Gaetz. If Donald Trump nominated Bill Cosby, Nancy Mace would be walking in circles in an ugly 80s sweater eating a pudding pop. Bottom line, line, shit like this
Men are not allowed in women's spaces, period, full stop, end of story.
would land a lot harder if you weren't rolling with the guy whose attitude about women's spaces is this.
I'll go backstage before a show. Yes. And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it.
Yeah. Ta-da!